worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. You are the beginning. You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. You're the beginning. You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. You're the beginning. You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. You're the beginning. You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised. And we give you all. We give you all the esteem. You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
And we give you all.
We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
You're the beginning.
You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
You're the beginning.
You're the beginning and forever. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
And we give you all.
We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
You are worthy.
You are worthy to be praised.
And we give you all.
We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
And we give you all.
We give you all the esteem. We worship Yahuwah. You are worthy to be praised.
Come on, praise. Because you are worthy. We want to say welcome back as we come to this portion of our class. The second part of our class, I pray that your time feasting and your time of rest went well. I pray that our Yahuwah ministered to your hearts and your time of fellowship with your mishpachot during this time as we took our break. We're going to start with the Baruch of the Torah. Repeat with me. Baruch Yahuwah.
Baruch Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
For all eternity.
For all eternity.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
And gave us his Torah.
And gave us his Torah.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
And implanted eternal life within us.
And implanted eternal life within us.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Now we'll have the reading of the Ten Commandments done by Mattathias Yasharal.
Aleph. I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the bed of slavery. Bet you shall have the power before me. You shall not make you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the mind beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the hours upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that have me and keep my commandments. Gimel, you shall not take the name of Yahuwah your power and falsify it, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalet, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Hey, esteem your Ab and your Ema as Yahuwah your power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give you. While you shall not murder. Saying, neither shall you commit adultery. Ket, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. You, neither shall you desire your neighbor's issue, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words Yahuwah spoke unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so.
And it is so. Leviticus chapter 6, verses 1 through 18. And it reads, These are the commandments, the statutes and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you. Excuse me. That you might do them in the land where you are going to enter and possess it. That you might fear Yahuwah your power to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson all the days of your life, and that your yom may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yasharal, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah of your Abbas has promised you, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Shema Yasharal, Yahuwah is our power, Yahuwah is Akkad. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah our supreme one, Yahuwah is Akkad. And you shall ahab Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this yom shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, to fall, to bind to the mind. And you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your Abbas, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, to give you great cities which you did not build, houses full of all great things which you filled not. Excuse me. Wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power and serve him, and shall swear by his name. And you shall not go after other power, the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore unto your fathers. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Let us have one more song, please.
You are Kodesh, oh so Kodesh. You are Kodesh, oh so Kodesh. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are Kodesh, oh so Kodesh. You are Kodesh, you are Kodesh. Oh, so Kodesh. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are Kodesh, you are Kodesh. Oh, so Kodesh. You are Kodesh, you are Kodesh. Oh, so Kodesh. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are mighty, you are mighty. Oh, so mighty. You are mighty, you are mighty. Oh, so mighty. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are mighty, you are mighty. Oh, so mighty. You are mighty, you are mighty. Oh, so mighty. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne, to be called into your presence as your own. You are beautiful, you are beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. You are beautiful, you are beautiful. Oh, Oh, so beautiful. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own. You are merciful. You are merciful. Oh, so merciful. You are merciful. You are merciful. Oh, so merciful. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own. You are powerful. You are powerful. Oh, so powerful. You are powerful. You are powerful. Oh, so powerful. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own. You are powerful. You are powerful. Oh, so powerful. You are powerful. You are powerful. Oh, so powerful. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own. You are golden. You are golden. Oh, so golden. You are golden. You are golden. Oh, so golden. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own. You are golden. You are golden. Oh, so golden. You are golden. You are golden. Oh, so golden. What a privilege. What a privilege and a pleasure to worship at your throne. To be called into your presence as your own.
You're worthy. For allowing us to make it back to this place. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for all that you're doing, all that you've done, and all that you're yet going to do in our lives. And it is so.
And it is so.
Yahush, the son of Nun, chapter 1, verse 7 and 8. We're going to read verse 7 and then we're going to confess verse 8. Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Verse 8, as I've tailored it to fit our time of confession, let us repeat this together. I will not let this scroll of the Torah depart out of my mouth. But I shall meditate in it. Yom and Layla. That I may observe to do. According to all that is written in it. For then I shall make my way prosperous. and act wisely.
And act wisely.
And act wisely.
And act wisely.
Now look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And you shall act wisely.
Come on, look at your other neighbor, tell your other neighbor, you shall act wisely.
And you shall act wisely.
Take your hand and place it over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
Come on, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
I endeavor
to
act wisely.
To act wisely.
I endeavor
To
act wisely.
To act wisely.
Come on, I endeavor
To
to act wisely.
act wisely.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. I endeavor to act wisely. Mishlei 15:8, the sacrifices of the wicked is an abomination, hateful, and exceedingly offensive unto you, Abba Yahuwah, but the prayer of the upright, it is your delight. Romaiah 14:17-18, for the kingdom of Yahuwah is not meat and drink, but uprightness and shalom and joy in the Ruach Kodesh. For he that in these things serve Yahush is acceptable to Yahuwah and approved of men. Mishlei 3:4, so shall we find great understanding and high esteem in the sight of judgment of Yahuwah and man, and it is so.
And it is so.
Yehukanan Aleph 5:4-5, for whatsoever is born of Yahuwah overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our belief. Who is he that overcometh the world, but he that believeth that Yahush is the son of Yahuwah. Yehukanan Aleph 2:5-6, but whoever keeps his Torah, truly the Ahab of Yahuwah is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so very important that we walk in the instructions that Abba Yahuwah has given unto us. At this time, we're going to do our affirmations, then our declaration, and then we're going to seal it with the word. Repeat with me. I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I am born again.
I am born again.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I have the life and nature
I have the life and nature
of Yahuwah in my Ruach.
of Yahuwah in my Ruach.
That life is the Torah of Yasharal.
That life is the Torah of Yasharal.
I purpose to walk in the Torah of life.
I purpose to walk in the Torah of life.
Yahuwah's Torah,
Yahuwah's Torah,
Yahush,
Yahush,
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's knowledge
Yahuwah's knowledge
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's Ahab
Yahuwah's Ahab
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's power
Yahuwah's power
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's wisdom
Yahuwah's wisdom
is in me.
is in me.
He is teaching me.
He is teaching me.
He is leading me.
He is leading me.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
The Ruach Kodesh of Yahuwah
The Ruach Kodesh of Yahuwah
in me is leading me.
in me is leading me.
I'll follow her leading.
I'll follow her leading.
I'll walk in the Torah.
I'll walk in the Torah.
Yahush,
Yahush,
our Mashiach,
our Mashiach,
and it is so.
and it is so.
Our declaration of healing and shalom. Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
in the name of Yahush,
in the name of Yahush,
our Mashiach,
our Mashiach,
we subdue ignorance
we subdue ignorance
with Torah knowledge.
with Torah knowledge.
And through this knowledge
And through this knowledge
of Torah truth,
of Torah truth,
we claim healing,
we claim healing,
shalom,
shalom,
deliverance,
deliverance,
and salvation.
and salvation.
We decree
We decree
Torah truth
Torah truth
in the lives
in the lives
of your people,
of your people,
our people, Yasharal.
Yasharal.
We unite
We unite
not to fight,
not to fight,
not to fight
not to fight
each other,
each other,
but the enemy
but the enemy
of our belief.
of our belief.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Now let us prepare to bow before our King, that we may seal our praise, our worship, our time of supplication and prayer before the Abba. Let us bow and let us say this together. May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
We have just recited Tehillim 19:15, which is known in the English as Psalms 19 and 15. And it is so.
And it is so.
You may take your seat as we go back into the writings on this Layla this night. I pray that everyone thus far has had a exciting and restful time as we have moved on into the Layla part of our rest. We want to continue in our time of class because it has been a full course meal for us. We've had 6 chapters that we were committed to reading, and we're going to finish them up. I am one, I believe, wholeheartedly that we need to take all of the writings, not portions, especially when we have been assigned, and when I say assigned, the Torah portions. And because we accept the Torah portions, it is important and it's necessary that we read all of it, not just portions of it and skip around. You know, when we eat, well, you know, some people eat around and eat all around the plate and so forth and so on, and some people don't finish it, but you have those of us, we may eat around it, but we're going to eat all of it. And so it's important that we eat all of it and not just portions of what is given. So we started on this Yom in chapter 16, starting at verse 18, and now we're in chapter 20, and we are at verse 11. As we have read, we have come to see many things. We are seeing the order and the outline of how we as a people are to govern ourselves. We were shown how our people were given the instructions on how they were to govern themselves then, and how we as a people are supposed to govern ourselves even now. And so it's important that we understand the structure and the setup and the importance of understanding why these things were taking place. He doesn't do anything for naught. Everything that we've been assigned and everything that he's given to us is for a reason. And so the first part that we learned as we went into chapter 19, we learned concerning structure on how to govern ourselves in case of an accidental death. And we learned in chapter 18 about what the portions were that were given, and that the Levites, the priests, did not have an inheritance, and so they were expected and relying on everybody else of the congregation or the nation of Yasharal to take care of them. And so as we continue to look, we see the setup, and we see how judges were gathered, because the theme is Shoftim, which means judges. And so Yahuwah through the instructions to Moshe, and Moshe conveyed the instructions to the children of Yasharal to set up judges, not just judges, but officers. And this would be the structure, and this would be how things would be carried forth, so that things would be done in a manner that was approved and acceptable unto Yahuwah, because he's the one that set it up. Very important for us to understand, because we know that when the children of Yasharal passed through many lands and dealt with many people, and even in the land, our land that they were getting ready to possess, there were people there that practiced the many things. Many people practiced sorcery, they practiced necromancy, and so these were the things that Yahuwah said you are not to do. Just because they do it, don't you do it. Are you following me? Yes. Another thing we saw is that in this, Yahuwah never said, now you go and evangelize them and you go and correct them. He said they are doing this, but you don't get involved in it, because that is not what you're supposed to do. So we've come to understand what other people do. It's, I don't want to sound harsh, but I have to go with what the writings say. Yahuwah said, don't you pick up their practices. But he never told them to correct them concerning their practices. That was what they did. And he said, don't you get involved with it. You stay clear, you stay free and clear of it. And so as such, we understand there are some things that we are not to get involved with. There are some things that we are to, in other words, mind our business and make sure we're doing what he told us to do. We can't be trying to correct everybody else and we're still walking in error. So it's important that we understand that. So here we are in chapter just giving a brief synopsis. Here it is. We are in chapter 19, and we're going to start at verse 11. As we started from verse 1 all the way to verse 10, we find out once again about the cities, and we see where Yahuwah through Moshe is telling them how to govern themselves and how to set up cities for people that have accidentally committed murder, accidentally killed someone. And so now, instead of this person dying because of an accident, you could call this a safe house. They were to go to the safe house until their time for these things to be judged and brought to the judges, so that it could be weighed out and nobody else would have to die. So that's where we saw in that part. Now we're in the part where we see where someone deliberately does this, and we're seeing once again certain instructions and certain laws put in place, practical laws, so that the people would have a balanced life, and we wouldn't have to worry about our people not have to worry about inequality, and we wouldn't have to worry about people taking advantage of one another. And so this is where we are now. So we're going to read, as we were reading earlier, 8 verses, starting with verse 11 in chapter 19. And it is so.
Chapter 19, verse 11. It reads, "But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Thine eye shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Yasharal, that it may go well with thee. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahuwah your power gives thee to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin. In any sin that he sins, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahuwah, before the Kohen and the Shoftim, which shall be in those days. And the Shoftim shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and have testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you." And it is so.
And it is so. Now we see the positive, and now we're going to be looking at the negative as well. We look at the positive also as we look at the negative. Very important for us to understand balance, because when there's an accident, that has to be handled in the correct manner. When it is deliberately done, it has to be handled in the correct manner as well. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Very important. Now, you are not to pity him, but thou shalt put away. Do not reason that one Yasharelite having been killed, why put another to death? The execution of the murderer is urged both in a negative and positive command, because he is a danger to society. To whose society? To our society. Are you following me?
Yes.
Many would reason and say, well, if one is, if he did it, then the thing of it is, we need to go ahead on and basically just put them in jail. Lock them up, feed them, educate them. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Even though they have been a menace to society, and they've done all this harm. They've killed a person. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And they deliberately did it. They intentionally premeditated. This is what you call premeditated murder. They set up and waited. They hid in the shadows. They went in a person's home and shot them down. Premeditated. And what they do now, this is once again, our judicial system says, instead of us executing them, we'll just give them free room and board. We will feed them, clothe them, and then we will educate them. And then turn them back out into society and give them a chance. Well, our setup said differently, because he said, if this person is found guilty, we're going to get them out of the place of refuge, and we're going to bring them to the executioner, and they are going to do what they know to do, and that is to take their life. Now you got all these activists and you got all these people that turn around in the time we live in, not just for humans, but even for animals. People pity animals more than they do people. Save the animals, down with people, down with the people. But you have to understand something. The reason why this was done was because this person or these people were a menace to society. And anytime somebody premeditates a murder, and they basically conjured that up in their mind. They've already gone over it 3 or 4 times how they're going to do it, and they do it. There was no need for them to have room and board and be housed. That's for people that have need and need to be housed. It's amazing how we have so many homeless people that have no job and have nowhere, but you have murderers that have a cot. 3 hots and a cot. If it's raining and cold, they still warm and they still eat. But they're guilty because of their crime. But they do better than people out on the street that has never done a crime. The only thing they were guilty of is either mismanagement of money, or they got fired and didn't have anything for their lifestyle so that they could continue living. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
And so this is important for us to look at the judicial system that we have, or that America has, not we, and the judicial system that Yahuwah has given us. Somebody would say, well, we're not there, so how can we yet live according to his instructions for our lives? Number one, we discourage murder. We discourage it. We discourage murder. We discourage those type of things so people will not have a desire to murder their Ak or their Cody or even their spouses. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
So it's important that we understand the makeup and the structure of what is being put in place here. Of what's being put in place. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Very important. Now he says, don't pity them, take them out. Give them, they got to go. Now he said that it may go well with thee. Avenging innocent blood is a baruch to the world, because to have pity on the murderer may increase the prevalence of homicide, which is already done. We can see it in the judicial system in certain places. People will murder, get off, and guess what? Go do it again. And this time when they do it and they go on a rampage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They get away with it, and then they go out, and guess what? Some people never get caught. There was a back in when I was young, and this was back in the day, a murderer, and his name was Mr. Goodbar. They never caught that man. The Zodiac killer, they never caught him. That person is still out there. And one of the things that people have to understand, and I like watching Criminal Minds and Special Victims Unit, SVU. I enjoy watching that. And so forth. And when you watch these shows, you start looking and you see a trend. Well, we have to take them in so that they can be put before their peers and so that they can be judged. They committed the crime. They're guilty.
Right.
And now we have to prove their guilt when they were already caught doing it. And this is why society is so thwarted now. And you have people that come up and they want to do that. Who was it? Jeffrey Dahmer and some of the rest of these. What's that man named? Son of Sam. All of them. And guess what happened? Well, we don't want to kill them because we don't want to make them a martyr. They're already in the eyes of many people heroes. That's their way of saying we don't want to kill them because they're ours. They're ours, so we don't want to kill them. So you got to look at why Yahuwah, when he set it up. Because if you look at it now, you see why when people do the stuff they do it. Now somebody would say, well, if Yahuwah gave us these ways to do this, and the Americas and everybody else does it differently, are they supposed to practice Torah? I'll say, no, they're not supposed to practice Torah because it wasn't given to them. But look at how society turns out because they don't follow Torah.
Right.
Are you following?
Yes.
They don't. Look at how jacked up things are. And the reason why we got caught up in this jacked up way of life is because our ancestors and forefathers. So now we got to live under a system that no matter how you try to say, well, there's equality, because if they go to court, there is a probability, 99.9% that they might get off, Yes, you got to be sitting, you are going to listen to all the evidence fair and not judge you by the color. Like we have seen so many times. That case that happened some years ago with those melanated brothers. They got into a fight with these European guys, whipped the smack out of them, beat them with a tennis shoe. And everybody went, and even, some of the high heads, so-called, spokesman for many of the melanated people, Al Sharpton and some of the rest of them went, and they said they can't do it. I believe it was in Alabama. They said they will not have a fair chance here if they go to trial. The trial needs to be moved. You know what the judge said? No. And guess what? Each one of those brothers who were defending themselves ended up going to jail because they were defending themselves. So you have to understand something. The judicial system is not made for us. So when we try to basically expect it to be fair with us, it's not.
Right.
It's not. This is why you have to stay on those things and stay out of trouble. And if trouble comes trying to look for you, pray that Yahuwah keep you in that hiding place. Hide me, I'll be Yahuwah, from mean men and mean women. Are you following me?
Yes.
Very important for us to understand that. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Because if we don't, we will find ourselves being snared and caught up in these things. And we don't want that.
No.
We don't want that. I know I don't want that. And I surely wouldn't want you to get caught up in it. From doing that, which they of old time have said. Now, what was it that they